What is up, guys? Welcome back to yet another video. My name is Franco Torres. I'm a guitar player based in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and in today's session of what I'm going to be calling Mucho Tone Chasing, which is where we talk everything gear, we're going to be talking about the Quad Cortex. Particularly, is it worth it? It's a question that I've been seeing online pretty much everywhere, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about it. I've been using the Quad Cortex for the past 3 years, so I've got something to say about it. Quick plug in, as a creator myself, subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing videos is how you can support us creators doing what we do, and I highly appreciate if you do subscribe and share this journey with me. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Now on to the actual video. Is the Quad Cortex worth it, right? That's a question that's popped up pretty much everywhere online. Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, everyone's asking the same question. At this point, a lot of people actually have it. It's been probably the most sold pedal in a lot of retailing stores over the past 2-3 years, and for good reason, right? It's a fantastic piece of gear that can do pretty much everything. But let's talk about that, right? It's not the only pedal that does that. There's a Fractal, there's the Kemper, there's the Helix, there's the Tonex, there's a lot of pedals out there that can do it. So why is the Quad Cortex so popular, right? Obviously a big part of that is the fact that they are owned by Neural DSP, and they've had a huge wave of players use their stuff. I mean, they've come out with some of the best plugins for guitar in history, right? Their plugins have all been fantastic, and honestly, they're the easiest way of getting fantastic tones on your guitar, especially if you're just getting started and you want to get really good sounding guitars. Focusrite Scarlett or Universal Audio Volt into one of the Neural DSP plugins and you're done, you're set. I mean, it sounds incredible. I remember when I first started getting into recording over 15 years back, we had a Scarlett Solo and we were trying to make kind of like pieces out of different plugins, because one had an amplifier head that kind of sounded almost good and another one had a cab that sounded almost good, and you would put them together and it would give you a almost close to decent sound. And that was after, us spending like $80 on plugins, and it sounded like crap. It was terrible. Nowadays, it's really easy to actually get a really good sound out of plugins, especially thanks to Neural DSP. In my opinion, they've revolutionized how guitar players can get their sound and how easy it is and accessible it is to get good tone. And that's awesome in my opinion, because the kids that are playing nowadays get to experience that, and to me that's beautiful, right? A couple of years back we were struggling to get a good sound out of a computer, and it wasn't until 5-6 years after that we got to be able to go to a studio for the first time and get to play through tube amplifiers. And at that point, me and my band back in the day, we were already kind of like touring, and we were doing a lot of like playing out live, and I was using all kinds of tube amps because we had really good connections back then, and I was using anywhere from AC30s, AC30 hand-wired, Marshall JCM 800s, Mesa Boogie Lone Stars, Orange Rock Reverbs, Steve Vai Legacy amplifiers. I was using a lot of really cool tube amplifiers, and then I had my pedal boards with a bunch of different pedals that I had amassed over the past couple of years at that point. So I felt like I had tone to figure out, right? And then we started kind of getting into this whole silent stage thing and getting into the digital realm. I moved on to the HX Stomp, and all of this to say, like, I've had a long history of playing through different equipment, and I'm sure you probably have too if you're watching this video, and if you haven't, welcome. This is a fantastic thing to get consumed by. But anyways, all that in history, right? Neural DSP pretty much revolutionized all of that and how we can like visualize all of it. And so Quad Cortex has been out for a couple of years. Like I said, I've been using it for the past 3 years, and I've used it in a lot of gigs. Well, honestly, pretty much every gig over the past 3 years has been done with that. Every recording gig has been done with that. Now let's talk about why I think the Quad Cortex is worth it, right? Ultimately, my whole thing is it's worth it. I'm not getting paid to say any of this. I just absolutely love the Quad Cortex, and honestly, the YouTube algorithm loves when I talk about the Quad Cortex. So why not feed it a little bit, right? So I'm gonna put some photos here so you can actually, you know, see how I'm using it. I'm using it with a couple other pedals just because I like pedals and I can't get away from them. That's really it. Can I do everything I need with the Quad Cortex? Yeah, absolutely. I don't need other pedals with it, right? I like having other pedals, and I like the Chase Bliss Mood. I like the Red Panda Particle. Why not use them with the Quad Cortex? I like stepping on pedals and like being able to like step harder and making it do the whole trail self-oscillating thing. It's fun. To me, it's just pedals are a lot of fun, and you get to do your artistic thing with them, right? Now, like I said, I can absolutely do everything that I need with a Quad Cortex. I am using it with pedals just because I think they integrate well with it. And there's specific pedals that do specific things that just pair well with the Quad Cortex. Because the Quad Cortex doesn't necessarily have a mood, right? It's got something that can kind of loop and do a little bit of that. I'm lazy and I don't want to like necessarily build a patch just for that, so I've got the mood, and the mood does the mood thing. And then I've got the other pedals that are just there to, again, feed my ego, I guess, if that's the word that I'm gonna be choosing for this. Yeah, the Quad Cortex can pretty much do everything else, right? If you're using just a Quad Cortex in a gig, you've got all the amplifiers that you would ever need. You've got delays, you've got modulations, you've got a bunch of different drive pedals, you've got compressors. Now you can use the plugins in there, which is super cool, which leads me into point number 2. You can use the plugins in it. Maybe not all the plugins are available on it yet, but most of the most popular ones are already there. You can pretty much use the Plenty, you can use the Slow, you can use the, or SLO 100, you can use the Nameless, you can use the Parallax, you can use the Corey Wong. What else do you need? You can use the Gojira. A lot of effects in there are freaking awesome. This leads me to point number 3. You can combine the plugins with your Quad Cortex effects. So now you've got the best of both worlds. You've got the plugins, plus you've got the effects on the Quad Cortex. And if you're using pedals outside, you've got that too. It's a lot of tone, mucha tone, if you will. And that's freaking awesome. The fact that you can do all of those and stack them up like that is just insane to me, right? The endless possibilities that are available with the Quad Cortex, and I swear to God, I'm not getting paid to say this, right? It's just really fun to talk about because it's really fun to play with. It sounds great, and I mean, I've had gigs where people come up to me asking what amplifier are you using, and my answer being the Quad Cortex. People look at me like, what the hell is that? Or people look at me like, huh, you're using the Quad Cortex and it sounds like that. It sounds like the real thing, especially through a PA. It sounds like a real thing. Like, you can't tell me like, oh, in the crowd I can tell when they're playing a tube amp. No, you can't. And if you think you can identify that, drop it down in the comment. Let's have a discussion about it, because I genuinely don't think that it's possible to tell if the player in a stadium is using a Quad Cortex versus a tube amplifier. There's no way of really telling. In fact, there's a lot of players out there that are using cab dummies, and they're playing through a Quad Cortex, but the dummies are there and they're showing up and they look like they're playing tube amplifiers. They're not. They're playing the Quad Cortex, right? I mean, we can even look at guys like Mark Tremonti, who are huge tube amplifier guys. I mean, this guy has a Dumble collection. He's got a bunch of really cool amplifiers, and he's now using the Quad Cortex as well. The fact is, it sounds close, right? In my opinion, like I said, it's the closest that a digital modeler, and I mean not just modeler, it's a profiler too, has ever gotten to an amplifier. And that segues me to the next point. It's a profiler. If you have an amplifier that you absolutely love, you can capture it with it and actually gig with it and not have to worry about blowing tubes in a gig. Because, I mean, let's face it, a lot of bars out there electricity is not necessarily the best. And if you don't have something like the Amp RX amp box or the Brownie, chances are you're feeding extra voltage to your amplifier or starving it a little bit. And while in some cases that's good, in most cases out there, chances are you're hurting the tubes in your amplifier, right? I don't necessarily want to, worry about changing the tubes on my amplifier as often as I had to when I was playing with them out live, because like I said, I mean, you play in some places that just blow tubes. It is what it is. Playing with the Quad Cortex, I can be consistent and not have to worry about spending, $200 on retubing an amplifier and, tubes plus labor, probably a little bit more. It's just easier, right? It's more convenient. And again, you can actually profile your amplifier and get it there, and yeah, now you've got your rig on a pedal without having to worry about all of that. It goes directly into your front of house, and I mean, you've got everything there. And I will say, not everything's perfect, right? The power supply is the one thing that I don't like, the power supply that it comes with. But that's solved. I've got the DC7 and I'm pairing it with the Crux, and that solves my problem. I mean, I'm using other pedals anyways. Why not have a power supply that can power the Quad Cortex? I don't mind. Now, if you are just using the Quad Cortex, the power supply comes with it. It's totally fine. It's not grounded, and it's not necessarily, the sturdiest. The cable is pretty thin. There's a bunch of different alternatives out there that you can use to power the Quad Cortex, and a lot of people have already found the solutions for it. And yeah, you can get away with other stuff out there, but like I said, the one it comes with, it's fine. It's just I'm picky with the power supply and what I'm plugging into where, because I've had situations where just people step on stuff, right? And ultimately, someone can step on the cable and break it. And I mean, if you see the cable that I use with this stuff, it's actually, this is what I plug into my DC7 to power the pedal board. So I'm picky with this kind of stuff. Now, for those wondering, you can also use the Quad Cortex as a pedal board in front of your amplifier. Just use it as if you were kind of like stepping on different stomp boxes and set it up on a stomp box mode. And essentially, again, using it as a pedal board. And I mean, I've seen guys that have the full trifecta of Strymon pedals replace that with the Quad Cortex, and maybe it's not going to do that very specific reverb sound on the Big Sky, or that very specific delay going into whatever else from the Mobius, and like doing all of these different combinations that you can do on the Strymon stuff. But you can get really darn close, and the people in the crowd are not necessarily going to be able to tell if you're using that one shimmer reverb on the Big Sky or if you're using a shimmer on the Quad Cortex. Essentially, you can get really darn close. And that all leads me to the next point, right? It's just versatility, being able to use it however the hell you want, and being able to just do any sort of rounding options on it is just unreal to me. The fact that you can run, if you wanted to, 2 different chains and have like essentially one B rig, one A rig, and kind of like have those going through the same input, like one input from your guitar going through these 2 chains and activate stuff in one go, one going to the right and one going to the left, and have completely different paths is just insane to me. The fact that you can do that truly lets us know we're in the future, right? You can run 4 instruments into it if you want to. You can run a vocal chain, you can run a guitar, an acoustic guitar, and the bass into it, and have those 4 chains, right? Maybe you won't have necessarily all that DSP to have 4 delays on each channel, but you can do that. And you can have the separate outputs for it, which is freaking insane. The fact that you can do that kind of stuff on the Quad Cortex is insane. And I don't see a lot of people doing it, but the ones that do actually get some really cool sounds out of it. And you can. The fact is you can pretty much put a whole band through one Quad Cortex. If they're all using simple-ish effects, yeah, you absolutely can. And yeah, maybe when it came out a couple years ago, it didn't necessarily have all of the effects in the world. It has a bunch of them now, and the plug-in compatibility took a couple of years. I mean, it's just technology, right? It takes a while to develop that kind of stuff, and that's cool. They did, and it works, and it sounds freaking awesome, and they're gonna be adding more stuff to it, and I'm sure it's all gonna be awesome as well. The fact that it keeps evolving is the next big point for me. If you buy it now, it's the same thing as maybe buying it 3-4 years from now. you can still upgrade it. At least that's how it's been for the past 3 years, right? I got it 3 years ago, and the updates that have come in since then have all been free. So for the first, point here, it's free. And if you upgrade each time, it's like you're getting a new Quad Cortex each and every time, right? And now you've got all of these different effects that you're adding into it. Plugin compatibility was a big update. That one was huge, and that one was freaking awesome and beautiful, and being able to use the Pliny on the Quad Cortex is insane, especially after years of using it on the actual computer. It's super cool. Just the fact that you can do that kind of stuff is really neat. Anyways, that's it for this video. I just wanted to share a couple points as to why I think that the Quad Cortex is definitely worth it. Just because I've seen that question pop up online a lot. A lot of people are wondering about it, and I completely get it. Everyone's talking about it, and it's often kind of like weird to see everyone playing with that new toy, and you're like, should I get it? Well, and this video is not about like should you get it or should you not get it. Ultimately, you're the one that can decide that, and you shouldn't be necessarily hearing someone online say like, oh, he's telling me to get it, so I need to get it. Do I think you should get it? I don't think you should care about what I think if you should get it or not. I'm just talking about what I think about the pedal and if I think it's worth it, right? I think it's absolutely worth it. I think it's the best money that I've invested on music gear in general. The fact that you can do all of that in a box without necessarily having to carry anything else. Like you can literally carry just like a small case. In fact, I'm going to show you my Quad Cortex case. It's a little gator case. This is a little suitcase. This is a case for the Quad Cortex. You can go with this and a guitar gig bag, and that's all your rig. That's all you need. That's freaking cool. The fact that this replaces a full stack and your pedal board and pretty much everything, to me, is just insane. Now, if you're playing in places where there's not a PA, guess what? You're gonna need one, and you're gonna need one nonetheless, right? You need something to plug it into if you're not playing in a place like that. But most bars or venues nowadays have a PA that you can plug into. So essentially, guess what? Now you can actually bring the Quad Cortex, and that's it. That's your rig. That's really cool to me. So yeah, I think it's absolutely worth it. If you like this kind of video, this kind of concept, this section in my channel that I'm going to call Mucho Tone Chasing, please consider subscribing, commenting, sharing the video, liking. All that kind of stuff actually helps more than you think. It helps creators like me do more of this in general. And I love doing it. I love chatting with people over here and everywhere about gear. It's just, music is fun and it connects people, and that's beautiful to me. Anyways, hopefully I'll see you on the next video, and if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments section. If you have any debates on it, I'd also like to read those. It's fun. It's fun to talk about gear. And if it's not fun for you, guess what? It's fun for everyone else. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video.